Welcome back, beautiful souls, to another episode of Going Goddess, your sanctuary for personal transformation, spiritual exploration, and goddess energy in all its forms.
Hmm.
Today, we are joined by my radiant co host, as always.
Hello, I'm Silver Luna.
Yes. And a truly radiant guest, Gabby. She is host of Inner Source podcast and a powerful guide in both the spiritual and clinical realms. Gabby works with plant and animal medicines like ayahuasca. She also supports healing in a modern context at a ketamine clinic. Gabby is an artist, a creative, and overall divine human being. She's a bridge between worlds, and we are beyond excited to dive into this episode with y'all.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. I'm excited to be here.
Yay!
Yes, I'm so
So,
excited to have you here, Gabby. Look.
yeah. And you guys have known each other for a long time. We were talking about this a little bit. Yeah, give us some
Yeah,
backstory. What's the deal?
Yeah, I've been friends with Gabby for, as we've determined, about 6 years now, which is crazy. We used to be neighbors in Tulsa. We have been neighbors like habitually because we were also vending neighbors at a festival that we both
Oh,
vended at, and then we were neighbors again at a camping festival where we camped next to her. Like we were just always
cool.
neighbors until we
yes,
moved
and I
to Florida.
I still have our ankle bracelet too. It's still on.
Oh, look,
Yep.
I
Same.
got it back.
Yes, I love
Okay,
it.
listeners,
Yay!
just so you know, they just both threw their legs in the air to prove that the ankle bracelets were on. We might have
Yes,
believed you, but now we have the proof.
Yes,
it is on video. The
it is
last time I
here.
That's
saw
Yes,
awesome.
Gabby, it actually had fallen off, and I bought a
yeah.
soldering iron.
Oh,
Oh,
oh
you
my
got
God, I
one.
love that.
I love it.
Yeah, well, because I had to take all of my jewelry off for an MRI, so I was like, "Fuck it, I'm just
Um,
gonna buy a soldering iron and put it all back on."
I love
yeah,
it.
that's what everyone
So now
does.
we're
That's
back.
what
We're back
everyone
to
does.
being ankle bracelet neighbors too.
Yes, forever.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. I think that is like just another sign that the universe brings like divine energy together and like connects us. And it doesn't matter how far away we are from each other, like there's still going to be something that like connects us together. And yeah, that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you mentioned that you guys were vendors next to each other. I'm super
Mhm.
interested to hear more about this side, of both of you. That's like the art, the vending, the creating. I understand you're the creator behind, is it Atia? Atia
Atia.
Creations?
Yeah.
Atia,
Yeah.
amazing. I would love to hear, what brought Atia Creations to life. What inspired you to start creating this way?
Yeah, so I actually had not ever taken an art class in school. I was in band, so that counted as art until college. So I did go to school for college. I started out with apparel design, decided not for me, and I had already established the minor in studio arts. So I just kind of like dropped the major, moved studio art up to my major, did the bachelor's degree with that. So I do have a degree in it. Um, and in that, I focused a lot on jewelry and sculpture mainly. And then in my sculpture class, I had this project. It was this really tall shelf that I had made that I wanted to wood burn the symbols for the chakras. It was like this really tall shelf. And so that was my first experience with wood burning. And after that, I just fell in love with it. Have been doing it since. So that was probably about 2015. So about 10 years now that I've been wood burning. And I have a full blown business with it now. I travel with it. I vend with it. I do use a lot of it in my spirituality and just different ritualistic practices that I do. A lot of mandalas, a lot of line work, sacred geometry, grids, and things like that. Um, yeah.
Oh my God, that's so cool. Like when I think artist creative, I think of all, I don't know, the popular ones like, oh, I paint or, sculpting or something, but wood burning. Like I don't think I've ever
Yeah.
met someone who does wood burning.
Yeah,
I
that's a
get a
lot for
lot
you
of
to.
How does it work?
older people who come in like, "Oh, I did that as a kid," and then I do get asked all the time of like, "Oh, well, what kind of laser do you have?" And I'm like, "I got these. My hands. It is all free-handed. I don't use any lasers." Like I've had
Whoa.
people try to convince me that I just need to get a laser, and I'm like, "No, that takes everything out of it because I do spend
Mhm.
so much time." And I put a lot of intention and energy into my work as well. So, yeah, having a machine do it takes all of that quality away from it.
Oh my
Hmm.
God, that's beautiful.
Yeah, actually, Jesus and I have pendants from Gabby that she did
Yeah.
little mandalas, and there are lucky wood. So, like, whenever we travel, we'll have our little wood burn pendant, and like we'll knock on our wood whenever we're like, needing to keep the bad forces away.
Yes,
I love it.
Yes, I know.
that's
I love seeing you guys
powerful.
wear them in your pictures and stuff. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, we take
seeing
care
them
of
out in
them.
the wild. It's always
Hmm.
fun.
And then there were also some earrings that she had made that were little vials that had like intentions and little like pieces in it. I forgot what all we
Oh
put in
yes,
it. They were
my
amazing. I
yes. So they were the self love vigil type of things. So yeah, in there
hmm
I did a whole ritual when making those pieces actually, and so they have different herbs. I wrote affirmations inside them. They're little jars. So I like cleansed the space when I was making those ones. Yeah, I forgot about those. I
yeah, they're
was like
amazing.
the whole thing.
I actually lost one at an airport, but I still have the other one and I keep it close by
Well, I'll
just
have
because
to
they're
make
so
you
amazing.
a replacement.
Oh, yes.
That is so cool. Like, and so special, your art that like you literally create it in ceremony, like in rituals. That is
Mhm.
like I love making friendship bracelets and like when it just really resonates with someone, it brings me so much joy and I know it does them too. But like what if I was creating these like as part of a ceremony? Like I look at my bracelets and I'm like, I love you and I infuse you with love and joy and like
That is
but I can make
ceremony.
it a
That right
little
there
more
is ceremony. That's it. It's the intention and the emotion that you put behind it, your energy, doing those bracelets. I've got two of them on my other ankle from not the one with the Jess's ankle bracelet, but yeah, like you're sitting there tying those knots, you're threading those beads,
yeah.
whatever it is, that's your time, your energy, your love being poured into that.
Mm.
That absolutely is ceremony.
Oh.
Right? Yes. There's something sacred about art that just it channels more than just the aesthetics. It becomes a medicine. It becomes a message.
Absolutely.
Yes. Oh, that is the
Hmm.
ceremony. I love the way you said that, Gabby. Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
So, Gabby, can you tell us a little bit of like your process when you create? Do you draw inspiration from like your healing practices? Where do you draw your inspiration from to create the wood burned art?
It really depends. A lot of places, really. I mean, the I started off with just doing like little earrings and things like that, with little like floral things, just kind of like trying to figure out, like, okay, I have this event, like what's gonna sell? What are people gonna buy?
Yeah.
And it was so hard to make art in that mindset. And
Mm.
the challenge of like because it is expensive. I have to buy all the materials. I have, like these events are not cheap to go and vend,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and I pay thousands of dollars a year in booth fees
Mm.
and things. So I do have to take all that into consideration, but I've found that so much more of my creative flow happens whenever I'm in a mindset of making tools or items that can be used in other people's practices, whether that be jewelry that you wear or something that sits on your altar or hangs on your wall and is just a reminder of your own spiritual path and journey that you're here to take in this human experience. So the pendants, I actually fought back against for a very long time because I did feel like that was conforming. Because, at these festivals and things that I've been at, you see people with the big heady wire wrap pendants and stuff. And I'm like, I'm
Yes.
not going to conform. And finally, I was just like, okay, I'm going to play with it. Let's see what we can do. And I found like doing the geometry, which that's heady anyway, but doing the
Yeah.
geometry and then like doing grids specific with certain intentions in mind, like abundance or self love or whatever it is. And in the pendants, I burn geometry, whatever it is, Metatron's cube, seed of life, whatever. And then I do put stones in there. So I set a full grid in these pendants um, that harness those
Wow.
energies of whatever it is, you're wanting to get. So like being able to wear that as a reminder to pull those energies in, and then being able to do them double sided is something that I do feel like is a niche, because so much of like the pendants are one sided. You wear them one way, to where I try
Mm-hmm.
to double them so you can wear them, just depending on your mood or your outfit, whatever it is that you're messing with that day, to kind of just fit into your day, however it is.
Yeah, like match your vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
That's
super versatile.
awesome.
Mm-hmm. That is
Good
awesome,
for
man.
you.
I can so relate though to what you're saying, that like you have to come from a place of creation that you enjoy and that you're proud of in the end. Because like whenever I was
Yes.
vending macrame, making those plant hangers was like death to my macrame art. Like
I
thinking about having to make plant hangers in order to sell them because that's what will sell at a booth is just like soul crushing. Like
Mm.
I'm not here to make the
Yes.
thing that will sell. I'm here to make the thing that makes me feel good and proud in the end. And like, so I totally understand
Yes.
that.
Yes, it's hard
Yes.
to kind of find the balance, because you do have, to an extent. I still
Yeah.
keep those dang earrings in stock because they sell. Like,
Yeah.
but with other things, like I really try to push myself with my journals that I make. I make wooden journals that
Ooh.
are gridded out and everything, and I
Mm-hmm.
hand cut every single page. I sew the binding together. I fully
Oh wow.
construct these journals. So that's where I can
Wow.
really put that creative energy into, and like, yeah, still force myself to sit and wood burn some earrings with flowers on them sometimes.
I think finally I saw the
Listeners,
earrings.
we are going to definitely link all of Gabby's amazing art in the Goddess Collective and in our episode notes and everything. So don't worry, you can go support Gabby. I know that I can't wait. I'm like running out of journal pages, so it's time for a new journal.
I know
Yes.
I'm working on a
But
few ones right now I'm really excited about.
Yes.
awesome. And like what you said about how what you both have said is just so true that like art specifically, we it's just so much more impactful when we're creating from like our hearts and our souls and our
Hmm.
purpose and like our energy that we're here to like give the world. And I think as the customer, that is felt. Like I know when
Absolutely.
someone put has created this in ceremony, and I know when someone was just like
Mm-hmm.
chucking these out to, try to make a buck or something. And then like even so I love singing karaoke, and have gotten better over the years, which I can now say because I can sing certain songs I could never sing before. But like as I was growing in karaoke, I would have people come up and say, "Wow, you have such an amazing voice." And eventually started to believe it. But then when I was singing, it was no longer me just getting on stage playing dress up with my emotions and my voice. It was, oh, people think I'm good, so I need to sing this song good. And it took the joy out of it for me. And so once I like dropped that and went back to that place of it doesn't matter how this song sounds. I am in this moment singing this song for me. It brought all of the joy back to it. And I think in art, very much the same as you shared.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. That voice is medicine too.
Yep. That voice is art.
Thank you.
And you do have a great voice, Sherry. I've heard you. But yeah,
Thank you.
definitely do it for the fun of it, not for what other people are gonna think of it in the end, and the mass appeal. Like ultimately, you
Mhm.
can tell when it's for mass appeal. It's
Yes.
so
And
obvious.
I believe like true abundance comes when we are in a creative space, operating from that creative space and service and love aligned with our purpose. So like
Hmm.
the more that we're creating art in that place, the more abundance comes to us. And just, I just believe that full heartedly that like, keep going, Gabby, keep doing it.
Thank you.
Like,
And you
yes, and I'm
too.
so
Keep
happy.
singing.
Thank
Yes.
you. Yes, I will.
So, Gabby, I do
Um,
want to ask before we move to
yeah.
the next thing. I just want to ask for women out there who feel the urge to create but aren't sure where to begin. What would you tell them?
Mm,
I mean, just do it. Just do it. Quit talking yourself out of it.
Yes.
Quit saying, oh, well, I have to have XYZ to be able to do it. No, you don't. Grab a pen, grab a paper, grab that, you know, whatever it is. If you're more 3D like me, like I don't claim to be a two-dimensional artist, you know, whatever it is, grab that tray of beads that has been sitting in your closet and the string and just do it. And
Mm-hmm.
let go of the judgment of yourself. Making crappy art is still making art. And
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
you're doing it. And it will get
Yep.
better.
Yes, yes, Gabby. I so agree and have experienced that even in making these bracelets. Like my first bracelets, I was so nervous because I thought that I wasn't very creative of a person. I was more like the athletics and academic person in my family. And so I was just like, whatever, I'm gonna make these bracelets and just put random beads on every single one and loved doing that. And now I'm making them intentionally and putting certain patterns together and my
Yeah,
creativity muscle is growing and
absolutely.
Yay.
it's like it feels so good and I just had to
Yes.
do it.
Yes. I have a sticky note that says, keep making shitty art. So I don't know if I can say that,
Oh,
but yes, just do it. Then, and it does.
I
I'm like,
love
you're
that.
right. I'm going to do it. So yeah,
Oh man, I need to put that on my whiteboard.
I love that.
right.
I love
And
that
keep
too.
doing it. You'll like it
Oh, that's
eventually. Or
awesome.
even if you don't, if you still hate it, somebody else is going to love it. So
It's true.
That's
yeah,
true. And if they don't, well, I guess you could
that's
donate
okay.
it or repurpose it.
Which is what I'm doing with a lot of these like other bracelets that I don't like as much anymore. I'm like repurposing all of them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we can do whatever we want, guys. If you don't like it, you can burn it.
Yeah,
Just
Absolutely.
do it.
that's true. That's true.
Yes.
All right. So let's go on to your healing path, Gabby. Let's talk a little bit more about your journey with plant and animal medicine. You know, so many people right now are feeling called to ancient modalities, especially with everything going on in the world. We're like, let's go back, take me back to the basics. So, you know, you've had some very powerful experiences with different types of medicine. So I want to open the floor to your experience and overview.
Yeah. So I've always had a really spiritual journey, I guess. You know, like I remember my mom got me my first set of tarot cards in high school, you know, that I could kind of play with, things like that. But really, over the last year, I would say realistically, I've really taken the dive into sitting with different medicines and things like that. And I do sit with a Native American church. Now, I am not Native, but I was raised in Tulsa, have always grown up to show respect. My grandfather, who was married in, but I still view as one of my grandfathers, was native. So I hold very high respect for it all. And so I've always been hesitant to try and sit with the medicine because fear of judgment, fear of I, you know, just all the things that can happen with it. But um sitting with the church, being able to still hold the sacred space with it and doing it with respect as well as I can. Has really helped me in my journey. So last year, I was in a pretty low spot for a while and was coming out of it. I went through a very deep depression in 2023. My relationship had
Mhm.
fallen apart, all the things. And exactly a year after that had happened, I was like, okay, I got to get out of this. Like, I have to figure something out. So I sat with Combo for the first time, which is frog medicine, amphibian medicine, where they take a little stick, burn some spots on you, depending on how many points they're wanting to do. It's a paste out of the secretion of a tree frog, and you put it on, and I mean, realistically, you get violently sick, but it is a deep, deep purgative to where like you fast beforehand, so you're not just like purging up breakfast, but it. I really felt in that moment that I was purging everything from that past relationship that was still holding me back. Everything just in my life that up to that point that was still holding me back, that I was holding on to, that really wasn't mine to hold on to anymore. And it was that just deep release, that get it out of my system physically, mentally, spiritually, clean it out. Um, so yes, combo, and I did 4 points for the first time, which was kind of a lot, but we did it. And
What
And
is
you
like
have a
the
guide
normal?
with you, right?
yes, yes, it's facilitated. So the woman who did it, she went through um, her everything in Peru, where she gets the medicine from, things like that. And it was a one-on-one, which I was very thankful for. Being my first medicine experience
Yeah.
like that, it was one-on-one. I was literally in a creek, which was amazing because your body gets so hot. So I was just sitting in the water. It was cool, and
Oh, cool.
yeah, that was really nice. And then exactly 1 month after I sat with combo, I sat with ayahuasca for 2 nights, um,
Mm.
which that was a whole journey in itself. So, plant medicine versus animal medicine, very different things. Ayahuasca does have that psychedelic factor to it, but it is also a purgative. So,
Mhm.
and the purging doesn't, always mean throwing up. The first night, I don't think I threw up at all, but I cried, and that was my purge.
Mm.
That was releasing again things that were not meant for me to hold on to anymore, and childhood things that came up. It
Mm.
was it really brought a lot of healing, and having the support of my therapist that I've been seeing for years, um, be so supportive of that and help with integration afterwards was really the magic for it all to come through.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
yeah, and that's I've sat a couple times since then. I plan to continue when the time is right, and yeah.
What is a typical
Wow.
setting like with ayahuasca? Is it typically multi-day or
It,
like
it
how
really
does it
just
work?
depends. You can do it multi-day or not. So the church that I attend, they have Friday night and Saturday night. So Thursday, we do sweat. So go out. They build the sweat lodge for that, which the medicine will sit in the lodge through the sweat as well. And then Friday night is, you can come sit that night. Ceremony's 4 hours long, so we're in the Maloka. We're all sitting around a fire. It's a very like spiritual, sacred place and a protective area. Um, so then after ceremony, we all get together for ceremony soup afterwards, which is just that
Mhm.
like we just made it through. Like one of the ladies, she said, you know what? Whatever happens these next 4 hours, we'll be together for ceremony soup. We're just gonna have some soup afterwards, and that just really gets you
Have
through.
some soup about it.
Yes, we'll have some soup about it. That first time it was very hard for me to get to the soup, but I made it. um,
I bet.
yeah, so then that weekend, the next morning, because we all stay there, next morning we did Sapo, which is like combo, but with combo you drink a lot of water beforehand, and Sapo is dry. But same like practice and everything. So did Sapo, Hape, sometimes included, just various things like that. And then for the people who were sitting both nights, then you would sit again Saturday night, which I did that first time. And yeah, make it through again to ceremony soup and then get up and have breakfast.
So, like to do, obviously so backing up on a previous podcast, we talked about letting go and some like
Mhm.
different ceremonies and things. This sounds like a super intense way of letting go of that energy. Listeners, I am not here to recommend this for you if you have not done other letting go situations and ceremonies. Um, what would you say to someone new that's interested in plant and animal medicine? And what are some of maybe the common misconceptions you hear around it?
I mean, I think really just find a place with people that you feel safe with. There are a lot of groups out there that unfortunately are in it for the wrong things. And, you pay thousands and thousands of dollars to go and sit in this. And I've heard about some that don't even practice the dieta, which the dieta is weeks leading up to ceremony. You're cleansing your body. You don't have caffeine. You don't have any stimulants. You don't eat meat. You don't have
Ooh,
salt, sugar. I mean, all these things going into it to kind of purify your body to prepare for the medicine. And I've heard of some places that don't even do that, like eating a cheeseburger on their way to ceremony. And I'm like, what?
yeah, yeah.
So finding a place that really takes it seriously, does hold the respect for it, and just trying to go in it with intentions. We set intentions before going in every ceremony. We sit down, we open the circle, we go around, introduce ourselves, and what is your intention for the night? What is your intention for this journey? So you go into it, and then Grandma Ayahuasca will show you, and she'll hold you through it. But it's, just make sure that you're in a place to be able to do some of that dark shadow work because it can bring things up that are scary.
Oh yeah.
And there's horror stories out there all over with all kinds of things, but um, just making sure you're at a place. Like, I'm very thankful I had 3 years of therapy under my belt before sitting because I'd worked through
Yeah.
kind of some of that more surface level stuff, and I was like, okay, now we're getting into the dirty work. So
Yeah.
having
For
that
sure.
under my belt already and doing some of that work instead of just like taking the nosedive in, which works for some people, didn't for me,
Yeah.
wouldn't have for me. I'm glad I did it the way I did.
Yeah.
But every journey is different. And I think just as long as you feel in your heart that it is true for you and what will be best for your higher self, and then do it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I
Would
love that
you
you said. Oh, go ahead.
I
Sorry.
I was just curious, would you recommend actually I like the point that Cherry brought up as a new as somebody that's, dabbling into like healing medicines, alternative medicines, would you recommend that a listener have tried other psychedelics prior to experiencing like ayahuasca, or is it so separate of an experience that it really wouldn't make a difference either way?
It really depends on the person. I feel like for me, I had only done mushrooms beforehand. I've for whatever reason had all this fear around acid. So I had sat with ayahuasca twice before I
Right.
ever tried acid because I had this like fear around acid for whatever reason. So I had only done mushrooms before, and I had some intense ones there. So I mean, I had kind of an idea, but I obviously did them recreationally. So I do think that the difference between recreational versus like sitting in ceremony is a lot different.
Oh
Recreation,
yeah.
you're normally with friends or you're at an event or whatever, where
Hmm.
it's not as intentional as it is sitting in ceremony. Not that one is
Totally.
better than the other. Everybody has their path and whatever. But I do think that your own experiences are going to shape that for you
Right.
because it's it really is just different.
Hmm. Yeah, I know I treat DMT as a ceremony almost every time that we do it.
Hmm.
I don't like using it recreationally because I feel like it's a portal that you don't really want to toy with. I respect that
Yeah.
portal.
Yes, yes.
I've
One of my
I've seen the
very, very
devil and I
best
don't want to see it
friends,
again.
one of my very best friends, she just started sitting with Bufo, which is, MEAO5 DMT, in ceremony. And yeah, it's a very sacred thing and it's
Powerful.
a protected space. You need to
Yes.
be in a safe space, with safe people. I mean,
Hmm.
anytime you're journeying like that, you want to be safe.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And like that makes me think of really respecting the
Hmm.
medicine for what it
Hmm.
is. And so like I actually don't think that you like that I would necessarily recommend that you've done something like done psychedelics before. Not that I'm not recommending it. I just think it is two separate things because the intention of sitting with this medicine, understanding that it's going to be an
Hmm.
experience that you've never had before, and so
Hmm.
just being really open to it and yeah, openness, respect, and like you said, safety. And listeners, at any time, you can change your mind. Not after you've taken the medicine. You will have
Strap
to
it in.
go through, and you
Yep.
will be okay. You will be okay because it's
Yes.
always here to teach you. It's for you.
Mhm.
However, like leading up to it, if you're like so gung ho and then you get to the space and you're like everything in me, or maybe it's just a little something in me, and the check, is it fear of the unknown or is it there's something here saying this is not my time? And then it is
Hmm.
a okay to say thank you, no,
Yep.
Absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely.
Always.
I think because like especially new, and if you're doing it maybe with someone, it's like, oh, we're gonna do like this. We're gonna sit with ayahuasca this weekend. Can't wait, and there can just be all of this like bullshit that will get in the way. And so, like you said,
Yeah.
it's the intention. And what is the thing that you said they do a few weeks prior to
Dieta. So it's
dieta?
dieta, yeah. So a lot of it does have to do with food, but it is also like just daily things. I mean, any adrenaline inducing things, you're really trying to just like baseline yourself and your energy. So
Yeah,
a lot of that does have to do with the things that you consume, so, not
yeah,
taking any drugs, not smoking or
Hmm.
whatever it is. I mean, there are places that, our church that are even like medications. They don't want you on an SSRI because that's messing with
yeah,
the things in you. So, obviously talk to your
yeah.
doctor.
Hmm.
Yes.
But yeah, like it really trying to just cleanse your body of anything that strays it one direction or the other from baseline, that clean slate going into it so the medicine can do what it needs to do and show you what it needs to. And it's going to be hard, but like I said, grandma will hold you. That first night,
Yeah.
Hmm.
I swear, I was being held by one of the facilitators. She just held me, and
Mm,
as I was having a mental breakdown, but it was,
Well,
yeah.
she'll hold you through it, but it's hard, but
I
so,
do feel
so
like,
worth it.
Yeah.
yeah, nature's medicine is one of those things that I say trust the universe. Like if you have to seek it out and it's hard to find, now is not the
It's not
time for
time.
you.
Mhm.
The universe is telling you not yet. If it
Yep.
comes to you easily, that's your time.
Hmm.
Oof.
Like,
That is such good advice just across the board. Like, what's the
mm-hmm.
path of least resistance here?
Yep,
Yes.
Go that way. I
Yes.
feel like
And
it's
that's,
true
that's
across
one
the board.
thing that I struggle with, because vending these festivals with my art and things like that, I see the drug use and the psychedelics and the
Mm.
ketamine is like a huge thing. So, in my 9 to 5, seeing the other side of that is a whole nother realm of things.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. I do. Okay, so I want to get into talking about your 9 to 5 a little bit, but the last part about this, because now I'm seeing, when people, or when I thought previously about maybe doing ayahuasca or something like that, it's just like you said, it's one night, but you're saying like there's intentionality and things that you're doing in the weeks leading up
Mhm.
to, during, and then I think the magic really happens. We talked about this off podcast, but magic really happens after the
Mhm.
ceremony and during integration. So, what does that look like for you? How do you help ground that insight into your everyday life? What would you suggest others do?
Yeah, so integration is definitely like the journey is there. It's hard. It's, I say fast, it's 4 hours, but like, in the grand scheme of things, it's you get shown all these things, but then I know for weeks afterwards I'm still like realizing, I'm like, oh my gosh, like these light bulbs just keep going off, these downloads happen, and that integration of like, okay, now that I've seen this shadow and the light has been shined, what do I do with it? Like, so that is, um I think the biggest thing is integration, is what is grandmother showing me, So, being a little vulnerable, my first one, I have an autoimmune disease that I was diagnosed with at 8 years old. And it doesn't affect my day to day life. It's not anything crazy. Um, but, you know, going through it at 8 years old, I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me, all these things. So I rooted back my own abandonment problems to that. And even though my parents were there the whole time, I was very blessed with my family. I don't ever remember being at the hospital by myself, but like, and communicating with my therapist through this, like my body abandoned me. I couldn't
Yeah.
walk. I couldn't feel my arms and legs, like things like this. So in a way, my body, my own self, my physical body abandoned me. And I think rooting that back in, and I still to this day, will be like, oh, that's where that's from. Or like,
Mm.
okay, this isn't here to hinder me anymore. The light, it's been brought to life and we can move forward from it now. That energy, that anxiety, that anxious attachment style in relationships, that is not for me anymore. We
Mm.
can leave that behind and move forward.
Mm.
Oh,
So,
that's amazing.
Yes.
Oh, that's so
Yes.
powerful.
Yeah.
yeah.
That really is.
And
And like,
I still catch
go ahead.
myself, from time to time. I got to check myself, but just knowing it and being able to move forward with it and talk with my therapist. And, I have my best friend Maddie, who she, we're texting each other like 2 a.m. be like, oh my God, I just had another download, like this, and
Yeah.
just rattling it off. Like the first time after she sat with the different medicine, I woke up to like 30 text messages from her the next morning, I'm pretty sure. And it's just having somebody to talk through it with and yeah, help integrate it. What are you learning from it? Is the most important part after sitting with the medicine.
It really
Totally.
is.
And like the most exciting part, because you get all this clarity and you get these answers. And like something that you said that I want to touch on again is like doing this can provide clarity and give us answers on things that can shine light on where maybe we had some wounds that we didn't even know they were about or what they were tied to, but it doesn't necessarily heal everything. It gives us the clarity to begin healing those things and
It's like
to
the root
like
cause. Hmm.
yeah, it's like that first like
It gives you
scoop
the
into the
tools.
soil.
You
Yes,
Yes.
got to use them.
exactly.
Gives you the
Yeah.
tools, but
Yeah.
you got to use them.
Oh,
And
that's amazing.
integration is where you put it to action. I love that.
Yes.
Man, that's so awesome. Ah, man. So there's one time that Jesus and I actually got invited to go to a ceremony, and we didn't make it because we like overslept. And I'm like kicking myself so hard now, like thinking back on that moment. I'm like, man, that was like our chance.
No,
Well, I mean, like
literally
you
the
said
universe was
earlier,
like still sleeping.
That's true.
well, universe, like you just said, if it's not ready for that
That's
time,
true.
it will find its way to tell you you're not ready at that time. So,
Yeah,
if it is still something you believe in doing, set your intentions and the opportunity will come.
I like it. That's true.
Big
That's true.
back.
Intentions are set. Well,
Yes.
Gabby, one of the things that we admire about you is how you bring healing into different spaces, from ceremonial to clinical to your experiences in the festival world. I want to hear a little bit more about your work in a ketamine therapy clinic.
Yeah. So that is kind of an interesting one because I am being in the festival world. I have seen the way that ketamine has taken over. In a way, I've seen it take over friends' lives. I've seen it, it's been cut with dangerous things now. People are dying, and I myself have had such strong feelings against ketamine. Period, for so long. And I got in contact with this virtual assistant company. She's like, hey, I don't have anything right now, but like, I've got your info. Like, let me wait till something opens up. I'm like, okay, cool. So then she hits me up and she's like, hey, this um, medical clinic needs somebody to do intake for this certain kind of therapy. I think you would be great for it. You have very kind voice, like these things. She's like, I think you would be awesome for it. I'm like, okay, cool. She's like, cool, I'll set up the meeting. So I get on the meeting with this lady and she's like, yeah, we're a ketamine clinic. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. I was like, there is no way with how strong feelings, like my feelings are against ketamine, that this is sitting in front of me right now on my computer. But I was like, okay, obviously it's here for a reason. And so I was like, universe would not have put this in front of me if I was not supposed to learn something from it. So I was like,
Hmm.
I'm going to do it. I was like, I obviously need the money. I was trying to do the art full time at that time, and that's hard. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And I'm so thankful that I did because learning this entire different side of ketamine in a non-recreational use, talking to these patients. I'm the first person that they talk to in this process. So I'm the one gathering their history. So, like, one of the questions I have to ask these patients is, what is your history and experience with depression? And that can be very heavy sometimes. I have, sometimes patients are like, yeah, I've tried some medicine, they didn't work, but other times I am on the phone with this patient as they're sitting in their bathroom floor crying, telling me their stories and sharing them with me. And, they've tried, 10 different medications, nothing is helping them. um, and it's heartbreaking. These people are at their like end. They're like, I don't know what to do, but I cannot live like this. So many military people, all this. So being able to be that first contact for them, hear their story, let them know, this is rough, but there are things out here that you can do. And then being able to talk with some of these patients after they've gone through a handful of treatments, or they've gone through the first initial like startup treatment plan and been able to really hear the success stories of it and how much it has changed these lives. You can hear it just in the tone of their voice on these phone calls that I have with them.
Oh,
Has totally changed my perspective on it. I still do not agree with it in the scene, but I do see with the right setting and again the right intentions and respect to the medicine, it can be beneficial. So it's been interesting, but I'm very thankful for it, and I'm 100% virtual, so I can take it anywhere with me, which is also a pro.
that's so awesome. What does like a typical ketamine session look like for someone?
Um, so it really depends on which form of ketamine you do. So there's the infusions, there's the intramuscular injections, there's what's called like the troches, which are like these little lozenges that you can take, and then there's what's called Spravato, which is a nasal S-ketamine, which that is the only one that insurance actually covers. So we have seen a spike over the last, I'd say, year, um, in a spike with that because people want to go through insurance. Now, all places do it kind of different. My clinic, which I believe is probably a reason, again, I am still with them, is we do not send any of the medication home with them. So they come in office. So they have their own little like suite with the chair. So depending on, what form they're doing, whether it's the IV or Spravato, administer the medication. And then they're there with us for 2 hours in office. So we can monitor things like blood pressure. We want to be there if should something happen. It's not super common, but we want to be able to be there, have the doctors and nurses on hand. And then we also have therapists. So if something's coming up and they're like, I need to talk about this, we do what's called a CAP session, which is ketamine assisted psychotherapy.
Mm.
So it really can be beneficial to just talk through things, or if some people just go to sleep and let the medicine do its job, do it while they're sleeping and come out of it, and really again try to integrate it. So our providers also will do what's called integration sessions with them.
Mm.
So after so many treatments, okay, let's touch base. How are we feeling? How you know do you feel like it's working? Do we need to switch things up? Do we, want to talk about things? So I think that's another reason why I do love the clinic that I am with, because the way that they administer it and go about it, I feel like does hold it with respect. It doesn't give opportunity for things like addiction to take over, um, because it feels good to feel good. And I
Yeah,
get it,
Yeah.
but
that's
allowing
so
that
cool.
is,
I think back to the majority of my friends that I have seen that were addicted to ketamine or have been addicted to ketamine, and I wish that they had or they knew about the opportunity to have this kind of a session
Hmm.
versus self-medicating.
absolutely,
Hmm.
absolutely.
Like,
I
also, I
wish it was
wonder
more
where does the
available.
ketamine come from? Yeah, is a ketamine that's in the festival scene? Like, I didn't even know that there were all these other forms, like
Hmm.
edible, like
Um,
the lozenges. Like, that's crazy. Like, where does that
yeah,
Yeah.
ketamine come from versus like this clinical ketamine? Do you know?
So, I mean, it's a lot of people, in the scene get the, like in a vial ketamine, and then they'll break it down and cut it with whatever they're cutting it with, which is where
Right.
all of that opportunity for things like fentanyl or whatever to be
Yeah.
incorporated in that. So I'm sure it all comes from the general same place, but putting it in the hands of the public gives it the opportunity to lose its authenticity.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, keeping it in the medical sense and doing it with that reverence to yourself and the medicine,
Hmm.
I think makes a big
Man,
difference.
I'm so grateful for this like shift in our society to be more
Hmm.
open to these medicines and their benefits. And like you
Hmm.
said, Silver, it is heartbreaking to think of the people that have been lost because this wasn't available to them and they just found it on their own, and how important it is to have a guide and to have someone there to watch out for you and make sure you're safe,
Hmm.
to like administer it correctly in the right dosage, just all of these things, with this ketamine therapy and then also with the plant and animal medicine.
Hmm.
Hmm.
How do you feel like there's any kind of overlaps? Like, would you say, like, do you have clients maybe that came in and they were like, the animal medicine didn't work, or the ayahuasca didn't work for me, but I'm gonna try ketamine. Like, how do they kind of inform each other? Do you see any overlaps?
Um, I do keep it very separate, and I think because the clinic I work for is out of state, so it's not like
Mm,
I have any potential of running into these patients and things like that.
yeah.
But I mean, there, every once in a while, I'll get somebody in the ketamine clinic who's like, "Yeah, I've done mushrooms before, or I have done ketamine recreationally." But I
Hmm.
don't want that relationship with it. I'd really like to have a better relationship with it, but it was beneficial even when using it recreationally, and I see the potential, but I want to do it the right way. So I have
Mm,
had some like that. Um, I think that also, though, because so much of the psychedelics are still illegal, and in the state even that my clinic is, like, weed is still illegal. So while they have the ketamine clinic, it is still a pretty conservative state. So I
yeah.
think being in the medical setting, people are hesitant to just openly talk about that more often than not.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm curious too if you know the validity of the common legend that there's like bladder problems caused by ketamine. Is that
100%
true?
true. 100% true. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. You do
Because
Like,
it's
what
lose.
kind?
it's like
You can,
shards that like tear up your bladder,
it
right?
well, it crystallizes your urine kind of in a way. So I mean, yeah, it can give you you can lose control of your bladder. I mean, yes, it does. The long term effects of it. I mean, we have patients that we've had to be like, okay, like you've been doing the infusions for 2 years now. We need to kind of look at something else because this is going to start taking a different toll on your body. So yes,
Mm,
100%.
Oh, wow.
Those things
okay.
still exist, even in the medical scene.
Good to know.
Weird.
I've
Yeah.
Yep.
wondered.
Yeah.
Like I have used ketamine and I agree that it is very beneficial, but it is definitely easy to abuse. And it's so scary how many friends we've seen that have just
Mhm.
lost control. Like they feel that effect and then they just self medicate to
Yeah.
Hmm.
no
It's
end.
it's it's the dissociative factor. It's the
Yeah.
not having to feel the emotions around what's really bothering you, and you know
Hmm.
disconnect from that.
So do you get to talk to the patients after their ketamine session? So you get to see the before and after essentially?
Sometimes, not always, which is kind of a downfall because I would love to be able to be like, oh my gosh, how are you doing? So I do other things in the clinic as well to where if they have a balance or I need to get an updated card or we need to schedule a follow up or things like that, then I'll get to call and touch base with them sometimes. And sometimes they're like, oh my gosh, like, you were the first person I talked to. And I'm like, yes, how are things? And just being able to hear that. And then, too, there are some patients who are like, hey, I've been doing ketamine therapy, in New York, and I'm moving here and really want to transfer my care. This has been the best thing that's happened to me. They still have to go through the
Mm,
whole process to see our providers, but, um, yeah, I do get those stories too of like, this has been the best thing to ever happen to me. And I just want to
Yeah.
continue it with my
That's,
move.
that's
So do you think that, okay, so my understanding, with the dissociation and everything, like when you have like anxiety or depression that is so debilitating, you can't even necessarily maybe make sense of all the thoughts that are going on. So this is helping you to maybe kind of step back and begin to start dealing with things where people didn't even have the ability to do that.
Hmm.
I could see where someone would be like, "Oh, well, you're just dissociating and you're not actually like dealing with anything." What would you say to someone that says that? And then also, have you ever seen, like, do people eventually stop ketamine therapy? Like, are they like, I'm at a point now where I'm good to go.
Um, yeah, so I mean, I'm going to say I'm not a doctor, not a medical
Yes, okay.
provider. I'm not,
Yeah.
any of those things. This is just
This is not
information,
medical advice. This is
not
not
medical
medical
advice.
right.
advice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I really think that it gives you the opportunity to look at your traumas, your past, and disconnect that emotional tie that you have with it so you can really look at it and work on it, if that
Okay.
makes sense. It
Yes.
allows you, nobody wants to sit and just think about the abuse that they went through or the situation that was just so traumatizing to them because your body can start to react,
Right.
maybe not even
Yeah.
your mind, but your muscles, you feel it in the pit of your stomach, is it bringing up nausea, all these things. It almost allows that emotional disconnect again so you can look at it through a different set of eyes and say, okay, this happened. This was horrible and nobody should ever experience this, but I did. And I need to work through what it has shown me and retrain my mind and my body to know that right now is not that time. I'm not going through that again. And really just process the emotions with it that come with it without that immediate reaction when thinking about it.
Yeah. And like in the visceral reaction. Okay. That
Hmm.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yes. Love it. Ah, so good. Okay, so let's shift now to your podcast, Gabby. I'm so excited to talk
yeah.
about your new podcast, Inner
I'm
Source.
so excited.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Yes. So, my girl Maddie and I wish she was here. She and I really bonded. Literally the minute we met. Um, it was just something in me triggered something in her, and we were like, we've done this before. Not in this life, but we have done this
Yes.
before.
So,
And
sister.
So
yes,
cool.
yes, absolutely. My sister in soul. And she has been sitting with medicine for years now. And she's been through some interesting paths, that's led her to where we are now. Um, and we talked about it for a while, not necessarily the podcast, but starting Inner Source Collective, because our goal with it is bridging just the communication of spirituality and the human experience. So, yes, do your rituals, be spiritual, walk that path, but like, I also have a 9 to 5 job and I have bills to pay and I have a dog to take care of
Yeah,
and she's
preach.
got 3 kids. Like,
So,
let's make it real.
Yeah.
I feel like a big thing that we talk about a lot is the presence of spirituality on social media. And like, it has to look this way to be spiritual. No, it doesn't.
Mm,
No,
mm-mm.
that's not real. That is not
mm,
realistic. These,
true.
spiritual influencer type people, like, it's not realistic for everybody. And I think it's so important to realize and talk about like your practice is your own. It is not going to look like anybody else's. Um,
Preach.
so that's really what we started with was like we have these tools, the medicine, she does a lot of like shamanic medicine. She's got the native background, so she administers hape, things like that, where I will hold the space down. That's a line I draw with the respect to the medicine is that is not my culture's medicine, so I'm not going to serve it, but I will hold space so you can serve it, type of thing. um, so really starting with inner source was we wanted to just give people the opportunity to talk about it and find their past. We reawaken what is already within you. It's there. You just have to remember it. Whether it's an ancestral thing, like I said, she's got the native background. She's really into the shamanic work. I'm more into the witchy, like herbal type of stuff. Like I do a lot of rituals and things like that. My little vigil earrings, things like that.
Yep.
So we have
We
very
love rituals
different
here.
spiritual,
Yes.
yeah. So her and I have very different spiritual practices, but together I think that makes us even stronger because then
Mm,
we can help give these tools, help people like, I am really into this, but I don't even know where to start. All right, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, we just went through
love that.
we just went through our
Mm.
first 4-week workshop called Awakening the Source, where each week we went into, so the first one was Crown. It was the just knowledge, understanding, things like that. And then we moved into the heart space where the accepting, the understanding, and then solar plexus is putting that action out into the world. And what are we going to do now that we have the knowledge, we've accepted it? What are we going to do with it?
Yes.
So we went through that workshop, which was amazing. It was our first one, and we had a great turnout. I'm so thankful for it. Um, and then we ended it with a shamanic rebirth ceremony
Wow.
that was eye opening for so many people that attended it. I have my sound bowl, so I do the sound. She does light language.
Cool.
We're burning medicine. Like it's intense and it's beautiful, and really just trying to bring something like that real rawness to Tulsa because there are spiritual communities everywhere, but I think the like Tulsa just needs it. So we're like, all right, let's do it.
Agreed.
And then her and I just have crazy conversations, and we were like, people need to hear these. So that's where the podcast came
Yes.
in. So
Oh
yeah,
my God. Thank you
we've
so much.
yes,
Yes.
so
Thank you.
just keeping that real rawness to it, and putting it out in the world, and whatever's going to come from it is going to come. We've recorded 2 episodes now. I'm hoping to have the first one edited and done, released beginning of May. I'm shooting for. So, but I'm winging it. I don't know
Yay.
what I'm doing. So we're figuring it out. But we've got
Perfect.
people lined up to come in and do guest speaking. So some people from our church, some of the strong. Our church is women led, so some strong, badass women. Um, my partner, she's really into astrology, evolutionary astrology, and birth charts with Pluto and the moon's nodes and all this stuff. So she's going to do some work with us, all kinds of stuff. Some of our music producer friends who really bring their heritage and background into their music. Yeah, we've got people lined up. So I'm really excited about it, and I'm excited to be doing it and putting it out in the world.
Oh, I'm so excited
Yes.
to
Yes.
hear it.
And thank
It's
you
and
guys
to
for
watch
putting
it.
yours out here because it put my ass into gear into getting it.
Yes.
So thank
No, I
you
love it.
Yay.
for being that
That's
inspiration to actually take the steps to do it and know that I can do it. I just got to do it.
Oh,
oh, yay.
Yeah.
yes. Oh my God. That feels
I love
so
it.
good. Yeah. I
Right?
feel like if we never help one more person, like just because this was part of the inspiration to like get you to finally do the thing, like job
Yes.
done,
Right?
Absolutely, it
like that's
Right?
was.
amazing.
I feel satisfied.
So happy for you. I'm so
Good.
But
Good.
excited
also,
for
like,
Thank you
you.
we,
guys.
I love that we all have the same mission to share an alternate perspective of what people have, like, put these bounds on us. Like, we're showing that it's okay to, like, have flaws and be messy as goddesses. You're showing that it's okay
Absolutely.
to have a different version of a spiritual journey than everybody else has because it's so, like, it's become such
It's
a, like,
yours,
Instagram thing, you know?
right?
Like, it doesn't have to look like the Instagram filter in any way, shape, or form.
No.
Like, everybody's different. And so I love that we are all on the collective journey to like break those molds that society has kind of put on us for no reason.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Like whatever your spiritual practice is, like part of mine is whenever I wake up in the morning, I get out of bed, I turn my fan off, I turn my little like mood lights on, I light an incense. That is my ritual
Ah,
for me in the morning. I know Maddie talked about her. She's blessing herself off. She's saging herself in the morning and she's getting ready for work. Whatever it is, you just integrate these things into your day to day life, no matter how small they are. And that becomes your spiritual
yeah.
practice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And
Yep.
that's like what creates magic in your life. And when you're in that magical mindset and when you're doing
Mhm.
rituals and all of these things, you're in this magical mindset, the universe notices and begins to give you more magical moments. And
Mm-hmm.
like it's a whole energy that not only brings you more magical moments, but magical people and opportunities. And it's just so impactful. So
Mhm.
listeners, where can you add more magic in your day, no matter how small? Like if it's just a little twirl before you pour your coffee, or like you touch a flower, just whatever it is, like try
Mhm.
to find something that you can do every single day that just makes you feel a little magical
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and see
I
how it
am
shifts.
fully supportive of making your life your aesthetic. Like I
Yep.
remember with coffee, for my little coffee routine, I was like, you know what? This is something I do every single day. I want it to look and feel like
Yes.
me. So I got myself a cute little French press and I got the little sugar and milk things and I got a little tray. Okay, it was like
Hmm.
maybe $40 for the whole setup, but I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I want it to be. And, because we always had the just sugar in the little bag in
Yeah.
the cupboard, and I'm like, no, this is going to be a vibe from now on, and I'm going to
Yes.
make it that way.
How
Yes.
So,
main character of you,
yes, it
Gabby.
was. It
So main
was.
character.
For
Romanticize your
real.
life. Like
100% do it.
it's
Mm-hmm.
why not?
Yeah, I
No.
don't care if
I,
you think I'm silly. I feel like a badass for it, and I'm going to do it.
right?
100%. And you are.
Man, I just added my Going Goddess decals to the back of my car, and I was driving the other day and I was like, you know what? I really want to add some like iridescent like patterns. Like I haven't
Do
picked
it.
it because
Yes.
like I own my car.
Decorate
Why
it.
have I not done this yet? And like
You
Right?
I was thinking like there's a fender, like a part of my fender that I might have hit the garage wall. My bad. And it fucked up my fender permanently. But
From like
it
the
can
wall
like,
hit your car.
yeah, that wall hit my car, damn it.
What?
But I was I was thinking like it like I can pop it back in, but why not just make like a little bow tie, like a little iridescent bow tie and like,
Yes,
make it like a little band-aid.
That's so cute.
absolutely.
It'll
I
make it
love
stay together
it.
all the time.
There you go.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so supportive of just little things like that. And like, I don't care how silly you think I am. It makes me feel good, and that's what matters.
Right? And then
Like,
Literally.
the next person
literally,
I
I
cut
have
off, they're gonna look at my
my
bow tie and be like, "Oh, she's done this before."
hmm yes, I have one of my another soul sister, Augustina. I have the let them tattoo, and she's constantly like, if I'm getting like, I'm like, well, what if, so and so, what if people don't like it? She's like, let them. She'll like point because it's on my wrist, so she's like pointing to her wrist, like she don't even say it half the time anymore. She's like, let them. I'm like, you're right, let
Yes. So you have let them on your wrist?
them. Yep,
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, that's
yep,
cool.
so good.
I
Are we
do.
talking about let them theory?
Yeah,
Like Mel Robbins? Yes.
yeah, yep,
Like
yeah. It
listeners,
plays
if you
a
haven't heard
role.
of the let them theory,
Amazing.
Gabby, share with us what it is.
You probably honestly know more about it than me. I just kind of wing it from whatever. That is where the tattoo originated from, but it was really just a flash. And I was like, you're right, let them. And
I
so I
like
just took it
that.
with that. So that's where it came from me. I was it was during that depressive episode I had in 2023. And I was like, you know what? It was like kind of towards the end of it. And yeah, that's where that came from. So I don't
Mm.
know the details of it, but it's what it
Well,
is for
my
me.
understanding is, yeah, it's just that. It's just whatever someone's gonna think about you or say about you or do, just let them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
let them. Your piece is here and they are there and we are letting them do whatever they're doing. It's not touching us.
Excellent.
And
Yep.
the more that we can just let people be. Also, on the
Hmm.
other way, like if you're not sure why someone's doing that, if it's not affecting you, just let them do it.
Exactly.
Unless it's like hurting someone, then we gotta stop the hurt. But
Stop letting it.
Yeah, and still hold your boundaries.
yeah,
Boundaries are healthy. Boundaries are
Yes.
good. They're hot.
oh,
Oh, we love
We out here
boundaries.
setting boundaries,
love that.
but yeah,
Mm,
let them. I
yep.
love my life. I'm
Totally.
thankful to be where I am with the people that are around me, and that's what
Yep. People are
Oh,
going
matters.
to
that's
have
so
their
good.
opinions. They're going to have them. Let them. I
Mhm.
love it. And
Yep,
then make the art. Let them have their
and make
opinion
the
and make
art.
the art.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, just do it. Just
Just
yeah.
just freaking do it, even if it sucks, and even if you're like, I hate everything about this piece, still finish it. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
It's still going to be a finished piece of art, and then you can move on to the next one. You know,
Boom.
ADHD be taking over sometimes. I know I have like 17 projects back there I'm working on right now, but it's
Mm,
okay.
totally is.
I'm
Yes.
right there
I
with
love that.
you. I think
With
everybody
a bunch of
has
art
like a
projects.
thousand. Yeah, we all have a bunch of art projects. Once you get into that creative zone and you start flexing that creative muscle, then you get excited about a thing. And then you're
Yeah.
like, actually, I don't want to do this anymore because I really want to do the thing I'm excited about.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
Yes.
oh, wait. And then you get better
I
at it. And then you're like halfway through that thing and you're like, wait, I could do better.
absolutely. I think
It is.
it's
And then
healthy. It's healthy
Yeah.
to have multiple things. Like sometimes
Yes.
I have to be like I recently started doing like stamp carving, like press printing,
Ooh,
whatever the
cool.
heck it is, because I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I really have to give my hand a break from burning sometimes because,
Mm.
arthritis. And so I have to like switch it up sometimes for my own creative mind and just physically. I gotta switch it up sometimes. Oh yes,
speaking
I made
of,
that one. Yes.
listeners, if you can't see it, I am showing an image of a stamp that Gabby actually made for Loveburn.
Yeah,
Isn't
so
that
I made
so
these
cool? It's a
patches.
tarot.
So
Yes.
it's after one of my so I have started this tarot series of wood burning pieces. And
So
yeah, so my girlfriend and I went to Loveburn this last February, and so I took a spin off of that tarot card that I did and kind of modeled it was the lovers Loveburn. So yeah, that was fun. So I made a bunch of patches and got to give those out.
yeah,
Ah,
they
that's so
stopped
cool.
by and
Yeah,
got to sleep overnight real quick before driving
yeah,
up to the rest of the way. But it was so great to finally get to see like a soul sister and a friend, a group of friends
yeah.
like here in our new state, and then to get the patches. I haven't put them on anything because I'm nervous that I'm going to put it somewhere and I'm not going to be happy with it. So they're sitting in my thing next to my desk, just waiting for the right opportunity. I'm like, I don't want to waste it, and then I put it there and I don't like it.
Hey, good thing with those kind of patches, just rip the stitches out and you can move it.
That's true. That's true. It is reusable.
Wait,
Yeah,
I'll probably put it on my Burning Man jacket. Add it.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I was so
ooh.
bummed you guys weren't going, so I was like, we have to stop and see them. I was like, we're
Oh,
it was so
driving through.
great.
We have to. It's like an hour out of the way. We're already driving 1,000 hours dang near, so we're stopping. Took us like 3 days to get to
For real.
Miami. It was crazy, but
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
grateful you did.
oh,
It was a
me
great
too.
soul boost. I needed it.
Yes, yes,
oh
yeah.
man.
Get to see your new
Yeah, when
state.
you need them and someone comes through like that, like
Yes,
godsend,
Yeah,
for
like
real.
literal angel.
And I had no idea like the like tumultuous times that were ahead, and like it was so nice to get to have
Mm.
friends before like going through all the shit we've been through over the last like month or two. It's like been so much. So it was great to like hug familiar faces and yeah.
yeah. I know.
So
I've
yeah,
been missing you and Jesus' hugs all the days.
me
No.
too. I know I
I miss
can't wait
being
to see
literal
you
neighbors.
right soon.
Yes, yes.
Um, so I guess kind of closing out, Gabby, you've shared so much with us, and I've loved every single second of it. A lot of it is honestly like you serving others in a place of service to others. So like, how do you stay grounded and connected to your own inner source while you're spending so much time supporting others?
That is a loaded question. Because I do my best, like I'm pretty busy all the time, between work and making art and the inner source stuff and recording podcasts and Traveling, doing the festivals, and actually, vending season is just now kicking off, and I'm already like, but I think it's just important to still incorporate those little times, like I said, when I wake up in the morning, taking the time to set the mood for myself, light the incense, turn on my mood lights, and while I am still not the best at it, and I feel like
Mm,
anybody around me would say that, I try to make some time for myself here and there. But I do feel like
good.
a lot of it is I know I'm in this human experience, I was meant to provide the space for others to heal. And so
Mm,
holding that space for others does fulfill parts of me that nothing else could.
mm,
So, and being in that, burning the medicine, whatever it is that I'm doing to hold that space and stay grounded, grounds me
Hmm.
in that moment as well.
yeah. All of the things it sounds like that contribute to living your life purpose is like how
Hmm.
Hmm.
you feel most grounded and how you keep
Yeah.
yourself grounded, just staying in that alignment. That's
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Because
I
even
Um,
whenever
relate
I'm
with
out at
with
these music festivals and things like my booth, I more often than not, we get the people in there who, if they are on whatever substance they're on, my booth gravitates them. And more often than not, I always have things like Narcan, test strip stuff. I keep all of that
yeah.
in my space at these festivals. And then if room allows for it, I always have an area back behind my booth where I have floor pillows. We have the carpet out. We've got
Mm,
the squishmallows. It's a cozy area that people can go if they're overwhelmed because
oh,
festivals and things are so overstimulating. And
yes.
so having that
yeah.
spot, people find it. I don't advertise it. It's not something that I like put out in the world, but that
Yes.
energy finds me somehow. So,
Yes.
You
Oh
have
my
it,
that
God, that's
aura.
so cool.
Yeah,
Yes.
you provide that aura. You provide that feeling of safety and like a good
yes,
person. I mean, I've always felt comfortable talking to you ever since the moment that I met you. Like you're just like
Oh,
thank
you
you.
can tell that you enjoy being around people. You enjoy helping others. Like
Hmm.
it's like palpable. I love it. I feel very grateful
Thank
to be a
you.
friend,
That
Gabby.
means so much. Thank you.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, like you're living your purpose and it brings
Mm-hmm.
people that need you.
It's
Like,
authentic. We can see it.
yes,
We can feel it.
very much so. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you for being a safe space for us, for others, for yourself, even. Like, it's just, I think it's rarer than people think, the true, authentic, safe spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and so thank you for being that.
Yes.
Huge.
Yes.
Thank
And thanks
you.
for
And
sharing your wisdom with us
thank
today.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, like your ability to hold space across realms, spiritual, scientific, deeply human, animal, plant, everything. I mean, it's just such a gift. So,
Thank
Agreed.
you. Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's being able, for me to hold the space, people have to be willing to step into it. And I think that's the
True.
biggest thing too, is meeting people where they're at and the space that they're ready to step into is so important.
Yes.
Ooh,
Oh,
ooh,
Yeah.
that's a great point.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Oh, that was so good.
Yeah.
So listeners, we'll definitely put the Inner Source podcast info, Atia Creations info, and Gabby's handles and everything like in the notes and in our posts and everything, and in the Goddess Collective. But from listening to Gabby share her story today, we know that healing doesn't have to look one way. It starts with curiosity, openness, and coming back to your own inner voice. Gabby,
Hmm.
um what do you have any closing remarks for us? Is there something you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I think just try to stay within yourself, find what resonates with you. Just because it resonates with somebody else doesn't mean it has to for you. And your spiritual journey is your own. It is not going to look like anybody else's out there, no matter what the media tells us spirituality should look like. It is yours and
Hmm.
yours alone.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah.
Oh
Yes, it
my
is.
gosh.
You
Big
you
facts.
shape your future. You shape
Yes,
your
absolutely.
journey.
Absolutely.
Oh,
And
I
there's
love it.
guides and there's tools out there, like it's all out there. It's just finding what works for you and just freaking doing it. Just do
Right?
it to make the conscious effort every day with the smallest things. Start with the smallest things and then you'll work up to, your own, before you realize it, you've got 6 things in a day that you're doing that are part of your spiritual practice rather than just one that you started with.
Mm-hmm.
And, and that's your journey. That is
Being
the
intentional.
ceremony. Your life is the ceremony.
Oh, that's
Ooh.
beautiful. That's really beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. I want to post that in the Goddess Collective.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'll have to.
I think
So
we should.
it's I'm not gonna take credit for it. It's a song that it plays during ceremony, but it's called Life is a Ceremony or something like that. I'll send it to you. But it's yeah, it really your life is the ceremony. It's true. We sit in these circles and hold the space in these sacred spaces, but your life is where that ceremony takes place, and every movement, every breath that you take is part of your ceremony.
Mm,
Mm, yeah, that's true.
so
Actually, I
true.
guess whenever you think about like the moments that you stop treating it as a ceremony, those are kind of the moments that you're just kind of skating by and you're not really paying a lot of
Mhm,
attention to what's going on.
mhm.
Being
Good
in tune
point.
with yourself,
Very
keeping your feet
intentional
on the
love.
ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm going to keep that
That's
back
some
in my
good
mind.
stuff to chew on.
Right?
Listeners, let us know what you think about that. And if you have, we'd love to hear what your rituals are and how you keep your life full of magic and how you live your life as a ceremony. So definitely share with us in the comments here or at the Goddess Collective on Facebook. We would definitely love to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We want to hear from you, listeners.
Yeah.
And
Well, thank
until
you guys
next
so
time,
much.
thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
So,
Yes.
Yeah.
all right, until next time, stay radiant
Stay empowered
and keep
and keep
going,
going,
God.
Goddess.